morning, everyone. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of the Integrative Conversations. First of all, I must apologize for not appearing last week. However, due to ill health, I just took a little break and then I thought, why not start today? So, meanwhile, if I'm speaking and I needed to cough, please excuse me. And I also needed to drink because I have a lot of, I'm going through cold at the moment. So, in the last couple of days, I went on Facebook and I read some of the comments in some of our different face group communities. And today's session is adding some of those comments into the live show today. And these comments are things that I've learned growing up, things that I've learned from education, and also having a traditional system, a belief system that I grew up with. And our topic this morning is on believing versus seeking. So there's two different things, two different meanings, and it's significant between the two. So I'll start with a little story. This story, I got it off one of the articles that I read lately, and it has to do with morality and how we strongly identify ourselves between good and bad, or what is right and wrong. And when we strongly identify ourselves with what we believe in, we limit ourselves to the narratives that we get from our external factors, our socialization processes, our cultural systems, our parents, our teachers, and society itself. Social media has so much influence on how we see things externally, but also how we feed ourselves with those strong identification to do what is right and what is wrong. And that is called morality. So this story goes like this. One time there were two gentlemen, they were Irish gentlemen, walking on the streets of London. And while they were walking in the street, they suddenly saw a minister. And in front of them there is this hotel, or I should say a brothel. And they looked at each other, and then they saw this minister. What the minister did was rolled up his cloak and looked sideways and walked into the brothel. And the two men looked at each other and shrugged their shoulders. And they were each thinking differently. What's going on there? Let's see, or let's expect what this minister is going to do. After a while, they saw another rabbi walking past. So he was walking to and fro, and then he stopped in the middle of this hotel or brothel, and then as soon as he didn't see anyone, he quickly sneaked into the brothel. And both the gentlemen, without talking to each other, they were in so much pain. They were thinking, what is going on here? What is happening here? And then within a few minutes, they see another priest. This priest was just like walking along, and then he looked left and right, and he looked sideways to see if someone's watching him. What he did was covered his face and walked into the brothel. And this is the concept today. The moral of the story is, when we have belief system that tells us what is wrong and right, morality in terms of how we believe what is wrong and right. We strongly identify with what is wrong. And we strongly, put yourself in this gentleman's shoes. If you believe it is totally wrong, then you have this inclination to make judgments on people. If you don't feel anything, that means you are free from your judgments against others. And so, in my early years of work as a counselor, I had to go through a system. I had to go through a process of changing my attitudes. And I hold strong values in my cultural system because my cultural system taught me so many valuable things. And it shaped my perspectives on things. It shaped my perspectives on life itself. But it also shaped some of my limiting beliefs because I feed those limiting beliefs that do not serve me all the time. And we as humans, we want to be perfect. We want to do the right things. But a lot of times, nothing or something. What is perfection? Perfection is a different interpretation to each one of us. So as I sat there in some of my counseling session, all these things come up in my head, but then it didn't make me judge the person I'm going to help in a negative manner, because I have gone through that process myself. And I, as a counselor or as a therapist at that time, am still going through that growth, the growth to look at myself. And I said, not everything that I say to people is truth. What is truth to me is what I believe in, but also that my perspectives on people and how I see people has to change if I want to change what is inside me, if I want to change some of the negative habits I feed myself with that. And so as I sat with one of my a young woman who came by, and she was alcoholic. She was only 16 or 15 years at that time, and she is from a different faith, and I was brought up from a Christian background. And so all these attitudes and values, when I see her, I had to go back into myself and said, this young woman is coming for help. Who am I to make judgment? But because we are humans and we can err, there's all this niggling thought inside me to saying, So what I did was I looked at her and said, "Few, be quiet." And so I started to listen to her story. She has gone through hell. She said the things that she does a lot of drugs, and her faith, she has this guilt, fear, and shame. And every time she wants to do things right for her, it doesn't seem that she's trying enough. And so with that, those early sessions of therapy has not only helped her feel that she can trust me, but also helped me with my judgments on people and how I see people. I don't see her because she comes from a different faith. I see her because she is a human, just like us. And a lot of times, all these morals of a system that human beings made it up has distorted a lot of us, has distorted a lot of our behaviors, has distorted a lot of our thinking. And I just wanted to say to whoever's listening, if you take this and you want to learn, there's a lot of help out there. You don't have to believe what I'm saying, but this is out of what I've grown, some of the stories that I feed myself, and some of the growth that I have gone through to make myself a better version of you. And I hope that this message is out there, then whoever, a woman, a young child who's growing up and wanted to be the best version of herself or himself, or a woman who's struggling to think what is wrong and right, it is fine. There is so much help out there. So, like I said, we are humans. We can err, but a lot of times our belief systems are so ingrained in us. When I talk about belief systems, I'm not making judgments on my belief systems, because I know that there's a lot of positive things that I grew up with. One of them is wisdom, and wisdom is one of the tools that I would like to show you to help you with your journey. And so in last night I was going through one of my Facebook community, and there was all this robust discussion between a church minister and some of the community groups. And because the church minister is saying, but what he's putting it out there is his truth and what he's learned along the way, there's a lot of opposing views against it. But what I picked out of this community group is that we are all humans. People are all different. We all have different views. But if only, and it makes me, and of course it will make me have strong views against the minister himself. But they're all entitled. Each one of us are entitled to our own opinions. But the message I wanted to share with you is that if those opinions hurt others, then what is spirituality teaching you? Spirituality is teaching you that behind those layers and all the flaws and all the things that you can do in life, if you dig deep down, you can find life, the perspectives of life as how it is. We're all at the same time, we're all in the same spectrum. We are all human. So I wanted to share my message with you, and I hope that this will help change one life at a time. And I'm so grateful that I have amazing coaches out there, women, men, families who lift each other. Of course, we'll have different opinions, but the core matter is that they love you for who you are. They don't love you because of your money. And coming to money, that's another matter. Excuse me. Coming to money, morality in terms of money, we grow up with what others tell us. More often, we have people tell us about money. Growing up in a village, we have obligations. And if we have resources there, money, yes, but money, we grow up with money. And there's a lot of myths about money. Our belief system, what we learn from our parents and from our society, goes like this: that money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy. There's never enough money. Don't worry, because if you have faith, money will come. And then we grow up with all this belief system that limit us. Money is not root of all evil. It's human behavior that shape us, our attitude towards money, that change those attitude But if you respect money, imagine your life. What would you like? You would like to help others, and that's where money comes in. You would like to pay your bills, and that's where money comes in. You would like to pay off your debt or buy a house. And all these financial necessities are necessary for you to live in this globalized world, but also a system that throw us all together. We need to learn how to work for money, but we also need to learn how to respect it, because we control money. Do not let money control ourselves and how we do things. And when you respect money, you don't have to limit your belief and your attitude and your actions towards money, because in your head, your narrative, your story is saying money is root of all evil. Who doesn't want to help someone out there? Who doesn't want to help their families? As for me, as coming from a collective society, I have this. I was brought up with wisdom, and so are so many of you. All the good teachings of our parents are so valuable in today. And even though we have left our homeland and built another home somewhere else all over the world, we have to learn and educate ourselves on money. And in this group, please, if you need help in terms of your financial needs, and a lot of times we women, we struggle with money, and us are not secondary. Money and us are the last thing we of course we think, and we know how to, some of us know how to budget, but some of us, it's like living on day to day. And I'm gonna talk in and contextualize my speech, because Australia is not like Fiji or some parts of the Pacific. A lot of places and a lot of areas, people are struggling to put food on the table. But we also have people out there, others who are helping to make life better until the pandemic, until we pass, until the pandemic eases, and then we can go into the space of going back to work, looking for work, so that we can help our families with education, with food, with rent, and so many other things. And so I wanted to share just this brief thing about seeking, believing versus seeking. So I'm just going to say that believing and seeking is the significant differences between the two. Believing is something you have assumed you don't know, and I'll quote, and seeking is something, it means something you have realized that you don't know. And with believing, because you hold on to this strong belief system that that your own faith is the only faith that is correct. That is your opinion and that is your life. But if you seek, that opens opportunities for you to learn and for you to grow. And the problem with society is that we bring in morality. What is moral and acceptable hundreds of years ago is not tolerated in this 21st century. And for us parents, what we see is so good for them, they despise it. Things like food that we enjoy at home, they have a different perspective, so we have to respect them. But what I'm saying is that we can find common ground. And when we find common ground, we see the differences and the uniqueness in each and every one of us. So My message is about, if you look at all our religious and all our religion and all our faith and all our preachers and what they preach us about morality, what is wrong and right, some of us, a lot of us, may put themselves as virtuous, and we have self-righteousness. But a lot of times people in this, shouldn't be saying categorizing it, but people who think they are virtuous and righteous, they have so much to worry about, because everything they do is so limited and life is not enjoyable in that sense. But if you allow yourself to embrace people, regardless of where they come from, regardless of how rich, who wouldn't want to learn from a rich person? A lot of rich people and wealthy people I have met in my life has taught me so many great things. And that I took it and said that will help me to grow, not to grow to be to be negative and judgmental, but to grow, to enhance my life, to see spirituality not in this a little block, but see spirituality in humanity. So spirituality teaches the abundance of compassion. When you are compassionate to others, why don't you do it to yourself as well? And so what I wanted to share with you again is 3 things, 3 tips or 3 tools that we could help to make ourselves the best version of yourself. Excuse me. So the first tool is, know that you are unique, and as a human, we can say that we may be wrong. But we open ourselves to life in all its essence, to grow and develop and become anything that you wanted to be. What you go through life, what your trauma, the things that happen, the suffering that happen through your life does not define your destiny. So like life in all its essence, we need to grow and develop and become anything you want. You become a better person, a better version of yourself through education and through learning, because learning is evolving, and you only feed in what you feel is serving thyself and serving others and serving your community. The second point and the second tool I wanted to share with you is, you need to do the inner work. Change has to come from inside. And if you are seeking that help, please message me today, because I can help you and I can do referrals to so many great people out there, so many great teachers, so many great coaches who can help you to change you, to become that unique you, to serve your community in the best positive possible way, not because you are blindly copying others. You want to be your unique self. The third point is that your belief system is one of them. And what I'm saying is that do not start to unpack all those narratives that do not serve you. Because I know that traditional wisdom that I grew up with and that I've learned from others, from other races, from other teachings, from education, involves kindness, involves caring, involves compassion, involves what I have, I give, and what you have, you give. So it's a collective effort. And I know that consciousness, there is all this movement that's moving towards in the 21st century to look at life itself in the human form, life itself that God has created, or the Creator has created for us to enjoy. So we must move away from this morality, because morality are mental constructs, and we can debunk this, or we can unlock these mental constructs to free ourselves to seek and believe what serves you, and for you to be able to do these three things. Seek, because seek allows you to open yourself out to so many opportunities in life. Thank you so much for listening. This would be my last show as I'm heading back to work, but I'm so excited because as I come back from work, I will be back on with season 2 with those that I'm just going to move into the getting guests on my show. And if you are interested, please message me on this Facebook group so we can have a chat about it. Or if you need to jump into someone else, because I can also do referral to some of my amazing colleagues who have started the show themselves to help to change one life, one show at a time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.